Hello people of the internet, it's Amanda, and if you're new here on my channel, I usually talk about Japanese movies, dramas, entertainment. Sometimes I tap into other Asian pop culture topics as well, and for today's video, we're here to talk about one of my favorite things to discuss here on my channel, which is a No.I. Now, if you've seen my content, you already know that I'm such a huge fan of the group. I've been a fan of the members show Kishi and Jin ever since their Kimpuri days. So there's a lot to unpack about this, like just for the intro of this video. They streamed their first ever live tour, at least one of the shows, from Saitama in December 24. And then it had an archive version on Prime Video from December 29 to January 3. And then this specific concert as well will have, I think, a more permanent archive version that is streamable on Prime Video on January 19. So I'm just looking forward to that edited version as well, because obviously it's going to be different from the version that was live streamed during the 24th. And I'm just really happy that they're doing this, simply because, again, I'm an overseas fan. I'm based in the Philippines. And it's kind of like easy to have FOMO, not being able to hit for the concert. I balloted for like multiple shows, but I still wasn't able to like hit for any of them. And so I was really looking forward to them streaming the concert, and then they did it. And it was just fun being able to like anticipate that. During the 24th, I had my uchiwa and my pen light on. I watched with my family. My mom even took a photo of me secretly while I was watching. Like in the previous one, they did for Two Heroes. I slept over with a friend. We had like a little party by ourselves, and we like took photos and really dressed up for the occasion. So them streaming their concerts, hopefully it persists until, like throughout all their shows moving forward. But it was just fun knowing that I'll be able to kind of like be part of the experience, even if you're not exactly there. Like obviously it's still different from an actual concert experience, but it still feels nice to have something to kind of like sit down, look forward to, and just be in that particular moment as well, if you get what I mean. So yeah. Now, with all that said, so I just wanted to like film this video, sit down, and just have a chat about, my thoughts about the entire thing. Like obviously most of it is just going to be like really nice, happy, positive things, because again, as I mentioned, I'm a fan of this group, and I just want this to feel like a sit down chat with like fellow iLYs out there who also experienced this, who's watched the archives and all these other things, and just share thoughts in general. And yeah, so without further ado, let's just get to it. The set list right here listed, and they started with Inazuma, which I think it was pretty obvious that they're going to start with that one, because it's one of their more latest lead tracks at the moment. Such a powerful song to open with, and I love their costumes, because in the recent like performances that they've had, and obviously this is like their first live tour, but in their previous performances, it's quite obvious that they've really strayed away from more kind of like costumey costumes, and it's nice to see them revert back to that kind of vibe with the sparkles and everything. And it's quite nice that the costume company that produced the costume for them recently posted about, the process of creating and conceptualizing the costumes. I'll put photos of them right here. And it's just like, I'm obsessed with, just production in general, and even like details, costuming and stuff. And I really, really enjoyed like seeing them go back to having like sparkly type of costumes, but it's not similar to like their old costumes back when they were still in KP. This is still very much fit into the No.I vibe and aesthetic, but again, it has a certain flair to it because it's bedazzled and everything. And it's also quite different for each of them. And I really, really like that it's become some sort of a trend that with Kishi's outfits specifically, he gets more of like a more casual hoodie-esque type of outfits. I feel like that fits him a lot. And like it's quite distinct nowadays that with the costuming or the way that they're dressed in most of their performances, it's very distinct to each of their styles, but it's nothing is downplayed in terms of any of them. But I think for this in particular, I really, really love like the vibe that they're going for specifically for Kishi's costumes. Jin went out wearing glasses, and if I remember correctly, it was Cartier glasses. And I absolutely love Jin in eyeglasses. I know that his fans also love him in eyeglasses. I think every iLYs loves him in eyeglasses. In Kohaku, he made quite a stir because people were asking who he was because of his entire look with the eyeglasses and costume and everything. People are saying that he resembles like a 2D character, and I feel like it all started with him knowing that there's kind of like a buzz with this particular look, given the reception of how he is during the live tour vibe. In the opening, he was wearing eyeglasses. It was really, really cool. It fits him so well, contrasted with the all black outfit. And obviously, their show always with his sunglasses and kind of like this star power aura of his. Obviously, they've switched hair colors with Kishi going blonde, Jin going dark brown, and Sho having black hair. But for me, and for some reason, I really, really like the switch up that they did. I didn't really expect to like Kishi's blonde hair as much, but so far, like, I really loved his aura, specifically in the concert, especially in that opening outfit where it's all black and then his hair is blonde, and and it didn't have really a lot of like accessories as compared to Jin and Sho, but it really made it like the visual really stand out a lot. And yeah, and just the performance itself, like they use a lot of elements in this in terms of like the water and then the fire, the pyrotechnics and stuff like that, and really played around with it's not exactly too complicated, but it matches well with the atmosphere of each song and even the visuals at the background. Again, after Inazuma, they performed Goat, which is the iconic debut song, Happy Anniversary to Goat, and which reached 100 million views on YouTube already and counting. I'm really happy that it happened even before the first anniversary of the song. And again, Goat is just simply iconic in its own. That choreography is just something that I feel like has resonated over the year that it has debuted. And I love that with each performance of it, whether it's on television and festivals or something like that, it kind of like switches up in terms of the vibe. And it's the same in the concert as well. Like Goat is probably one of their most performed song at the moment, given that it's their debut song. It's the song that they've had the longest ever since their debut. And obviously, like sometimes some songs you perform them over and over and over and it kind of like loses its spark, but for Goat that's not the case at all. They always have that certain flair to that song or certain energy to that song that makes it as iconic as it is. And it just makes sense that in the set list, after Inazuma, just the energy of that transitioning into Goat just fits so well. And then it transitions to Fuji, which is again another one of my favorite songs. I love Fuji the first time that I heard it, but I love it even more, especially after they performed it at Coachella. Like for some reason, that song completely changed in vibe to me after I've seen them perform it at Coachella, simply because of its message and the way that they presented it during that event. And so every time I hear them perform it, it's just so powerful to me. And I think that lineup of Inazuma, Goat, and Fuji was just kind of like this perfect mix of things. And I really, really loved like the intro, like how all those kind of like turned out, at least for the first 3 songs of the concert. And then there's a switch up in terms of like the outfits, the vibes, everything. Oh no, I mean, before they switched their costumes up, there's also Square One. Square One, again, another favorite of mine. I think they switched up the choreography of this one as compared to how they were performing it prior to different shows and festivals. And I think that's something that I really like about No.I is that each performance isn't just a copy of a previous performance that they've done. There's always some tweaks here and there to make it unique. I really love the kind of like that kind of movement that they're doing. Really, like, just absolutely enjoy how after the first three songs with a very dynamic type of beat to it, then we get Square One, which is kind of like still its own kind of a groovy track, but it's a lot more mellowed down, a lot more toned down. And yeah, and then from there it's quite interesting because we cut to a VTR, which was super funny because, again, coming from a very strong intro, obviously No.I inserts their personality into the performance as well through the VTR, where we're watching the three of them in this all white room, and then they're kind of like have this weird futuristic remote and television set watching their performance and all these other things. And then it transitions into something that reminds me of the Lost in Love production before, when back then they were in KP. And I think it makes sense simply because the ones who produced Lost in Love and that kind of like cinematic love lost vibe was Jin and Sho. And so they did it again with this one as a transition to Rain or Shine. Now, I love their costumes in this part of the concert, specifically Sho's with the with the blazer and kind of like the vest that he has underneath. I think I just feel so kind of like frustrated a little bit because this entire sequence in the concert was mostly dim in terms of lighting. And I understand mood lighting because they changed the colors a little bit, but there were parts in this particular sequence, not just Rain or Shine, but just in this particular sequence, that the lighting was really dim. And I think they were going for a more kind of like silhouette-ish vibe specifically for when they performed Blow Your Cover. But I could have wished they used mood lighting instead of it being silhouette-ish. But again, it's an artistic choice, I believe. But just that comment in general, because again, Rain or Shine and then Blow Your Cover, those two songs are very, very moody. I kind of like get it. I love the part where the dancers were in kind of like the water. That was crazy because I know that how hard it is to dance just as it is and then to dance with like water pouring all over you, but it really adds to the atmosphere of the performance. And I also like that they kind of like switch up partners as well from the previous concert, the Ariake concert, to this one. They switched up partners, and that's kind of cute. And again, there's just generally something very, very sultry, but at the same time, like just moody and melancholic about this particular part of the sequence that I purely enjoyed. I think, again, as I mentioned, my issue is just mainly the lighting, and also the way that in this particular like sequence, the colors for Jin and Kishi were moody, and then Sho, the one that they used for Sho, is kind of like just stark white spotlight. And I wish they could have like just added another color to it so it looks a little bit more, I don't know, cohesive. But this is more of like just a visual commentary on that entire like thing. Like, it's either a balance of light or a lack of light, because overall I love these two songs. I love that they made it atmospheric. I wish that better choices in terms of the lighting were kind of like used, but overall it was fine. And then move on to the first solo song that was performed here, which was Kishi's Recipe. Now, full confessional, Recipe, out of all the solo songs, like all the solo songs of the members, Recipe was probably my least favorite when I was listening to it on track. I'm just a sucker for ballads, I guess, and that's the reason why I preferred Tomeng and Naritay and by 24/7, by 24/7 being my favorite. Like, I always obsess over Jin's solo song, and that's the reason why like Recipe is probably my least favorite solo song out of the three of them. And needless to say, like it's not like I don't like the song. It's just that ranking it from the solo songs that they released from the album, it was one of my least favorites. But the live performance, I think Kishi's would definitely be my favorite because, and I've seen reports from fans about this ever since the tour started, that he used a looper. If you don't know what a looper is, it's basically a device where you kind of like record a song to it, you punch something in there, and then it kind of like loops it, as the name suggests, and you kind of like use that in terms of the sequence. One of the performers that I've seen made it effective in some of their live shows would be Ed Sheeran. And so I was really excited to see it because seeing the reports like Recipe Kishi used a looper for his performance, blah blah blah, I was so psyched because I always love like live performances and productions that really kind of like, you know, just push it. And I absolutely love it so much. I know that Kishi was also credited for the guitar work that he did in Recipe, and also like the songwriting for it. But the last time that I've heard of Kishi and guitar was when he did Doribo before, and um during that time back in 2018, 2019, I guess, he was still struggling with guitar. Like, he was still starting out with it. He was training himself to be able to perform. So I didn't know what to expect, like how much his guitar skills has actually improved since that time. And to be able to see him actually perform it, like the plucking, the I'm such a guitar girly, and so I absolutely loved just him doing like lead guitar work, the bass, everything, and the work with the looper, and obviously his vocals, and just his personality shining through the performance as well, because obviously he's doing it on the spot with like the tweaking and stuff like that. And so there's this part where he was just saying, you know, mad at this, mad at this, because he's waiting for the right timing for the next sequence to like be punched into the sequence of the song. And then there's also this one part where he repeated the bass he was doing because, you know, it wasn't quite fit to what he was looking for and stuff like that. And it's such a very kind of like personal performance, and I know that it also varies day by day because obviously he's doing it right then and there, and just speaks so much to his growth as an artist and the way that he wants to showcase himself as member of No.I, and it's just so good. And Recipe easily became my favorite, one of my favorite parts of the entire concert because of that. um and yeah, and it really changed, you know, my relationship with the song, because again, I think there's some songs that you don't appreciate it on track. It's a lot more easier to appreciate it once you see it performed and stuff like that. And sometimes it's the other way around, like you see it performed and it doesn't resonate as much as when you listen to it on track. So again, as I mentioned, Kishi's performance of Recipe is just, you know, it really changed my vibe with that song, my relationship with that song. And then it transitioned to Jin's solo song, which is by 24/7. And again, as I mentioned, I absolutely adore that song. I love that song so much. um I think like just the vibe of it is very Jin. And I'll say this for all three of their performances. Their performances speak so much about them as artists. Like with Kishi, he's very hardworking. He has like he wants to try things out a lot and has this really cool side to him that is waiting to just pounce, and it showed during Recipe. Then for Jin, he's always had an eye for production, and it showed because of the kind of like the atmosphere of his ballad. Like it both focused on his vocals and at the same time just the staging of how the song was being presented. He was put into this box with like waterworks again. It gave the illusion of being inside a house where it's raining, and it matches with the emotion that the song was trying to evoke. Jin with his boxes. I mean, he's done performances in boxes even way before. So it's become kind of like this thing that I always joke around with my friend who is a Jin fan, that Jin would always most likely have boxes in his performances, especially if he's involved in the production of it. And I really, really enjoyed that vibe as well, because it's a ballad. It doesn't have to have a lot of things, but it has to have that atmosphere. And this part where the music kind of like stopped and it's just Jin's voice resonating everywhere, and then the lights with, it was just a beautiful performance. And again, it shows so much of who Jin is individually as an artist as compared to Kishi's performance. That is very self-produced. And then for Jin, it's kind of like this very mindful of stage production and stage presentation, and it's very Jin in a sense. And I absolutely loved and enjoyed that. And I thought that they're gonna transition to Tome ni Naritay and solo, and then anything, but it transitioned to Jelly. Now, Jelly is one of my favorite songs from the album. It's such a fun, preppy kind of track, but also kind of like flirty, and I don't know, but I just absolutely love the rhythm of that song. I love the choreography of that. I love that they did the whole NUMBER andaba part, but they were so messy because it's so them. Like, the song is just fun, but at the same time, like, there's this kind of like messy vibe to it as well. I think during this part, again, starting from, I think around this part, there was already issues with Shaw's ear monitor, I would think, during this part of the performance. Like, I noticed him going off track a little bit a lot during this part, and he keeps on touching his ear monitor. And I think that it's so easy for performers to lose track, because you honestly can't hear a lot of yourself when you're performing live. But it's a good indicator that they are singing their songs live. And it's so difficult, especially with the level of choreography that they're doing, as well as running around and walking around in the entire arena, but they're still performing their songs live. And to me, honestly, like, the awareness of your tools, like ear monitor and your mic and everything like that, shows just how much they've grown as artists as well, because they know if something's up during their performances. But anyway, I just want to like put it out there. But I absolutely love Jelly. It's just like, again, as a fun kind of like flirty, fun performance, like, it elevates from a ballad to, and then transitioning to that. And I think No.I's track list kind of like reflects that a lot, where you get songs that are high and then it goes low, and then it goes high again. Sense of cohesion to the way that they're transitioning between tracks has been really good so far, whether that's during, like, just within the track list or their performances. Again, one of my favorite tracks, because it's just so motivating. And they didn't do like a lot of anything in this song. It's kind of like one of these songs that are just performed and sung as they go around audiences and stuff like that. And again, we really love how there's that balance of, it also allows them to rest, in my opinion, because of how choreo heavy some of their performances are. Then transitioning that to, No.Yes, Midnight City, again, very, very just fun songs. I've always loved No.Yes. It's such a beach-ish type of song to me, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the Suntory commercial, or that's just kind of like the vibe that it has, but it has a very summery vibe in my mind, and I absolutely just enjoy that song. And again, transitioning from a fun song, they move to Midnight City, just chill, nice vocals. And then Banana, always one of my favorites as well. It's on the same range as No.Yes. Again, with Kishi's produced songs, I've always loved the vibe, like the feel-good vibe of his produced songs. And so there, and then moving past that, the mood suddenly changes for Nangka Heaven. There's this, again, it's we revert back to this atmospheric type of performance where there's a minor set, not really like a lot of things happening on this, but a lot of like moodiness, atmosphere, the way that they're delivering, you know, this song. And again, this changed the way as to how I interact with this song after watching the concert, because for me, Nangka Heaven has always been this kind of like just, you know, fun-ish rap song in a sense. But for here, it's become this very kind of like, and I know lyrically it fits the concert production a lot more, but just listening to it and vibing to it, it has this kind of like just fun-ish like kind of vibe. But watching the performance, it reverted it back to how the song should be perceived, in a sense where it's definitely mature and sultry and just fun, and it also kind of like evokes a lot of like their vocal prowess as well, and the rapping skills and everything. And again, it just circles back to, you know, the skills that they have, just performing again this song that I feel like it could have fit in the earlier sequence with like Rain or Shine and Blow Your Cover, but they needed this song to be here to transition to Sho's solo Tome ni Naritai. Now for this one, this song is super long. I mean, it's almost 5 minutes long, but again, it doesn't feel that way because of just the melody of the song. It's also one of those songs that is very moody, that definitely sets a certain visual in your head. And as in contrast to Kishi and Jin's performance, this performance is also very show, in my opinion. Like if Kishi's performance shows a lot about him as an artist, and then Jin also shows a lot about, you know, his keenness for production. The simplicity of Tome ni Naritai's delivery says a lot about Sho as an artist, in my opinion. I think it's because he has a knack to always kind of like shine just being there, and that's part of just his star factor as an artist. It's not even him trying sometimes, but he just has that kind of like presence as an artist. But for this song, that kind of like steps back a little bit because the focus of it is just him, a mic, and the song and the atmosphere. So most of the focus is in his vocals, and the way that even through his vocals, it evokes this sense of vividness through the audience as to what the song is about. And again it fits into the narrative of just the song itself, Tome ni Naritai, but also I think reflects a lot about Sho as an artist, in a sense that if Kishi's is a display of his coolness, of his cool side, Jin is a display of his love for like detail when it comes to production. This one shows that Sho wants people to focus on his performance and the rawness of it, other than any other factor, because you can barely see most of him in the performance as well. So the focus wouldn't be, for example, let's say his visuals or any elaborate costuming or any of that, but just the rawness of him singing the song. And I think that is the most basic thing that Cho's always been saying about what he wants people to take away from his performances, is how he's delivering it. And I think this part is very, very kind of like, at least to me, that's how it felt like. Like, you know, it's not lazy as compared to what Kishi and Jin has done, but it just makes sense for him, and it being his solo song, because it expresses what he wants to convey as an artist. And we transition to OK Complex for this, which is another song that I really like performed live. It's not one of those songs that is so easy to listen to just as a track because it's very heavy, very dynamic, again with very bass heavy as well. It's not one of those tracks that you just simply enjoy listening to on a daily basis or just, you know, but it's one of those tracks that is meant to be performed. So Amanda in post editing here, I completely forgot to talk about Streetlights as well. It comes up during this part, like after OK Complex. Again, this is one of my favorite songs from the album. I'm so disappointed that they didn't put this on streaming, but they did explain that it was either this or iLYs as the bonus track. And as much as I really love iLYs and I know that it's a fan song and they want to put it out there, I wish that they really put Streetlights on streaming because it's such a stream worthy type of song. Like it just has that vibe that it belongs in Apple Music, Spotify, something like that. But I absolutely love that song so much. I love that they performed it in concert and the way that they did it. And again, given that it's a live performance, the vocals is a lot better than the recorded track, especially for Show's delivery of the song. He sung parts of it that, like, his parts of it is very kind of like breathy, and I absolutely love that, especially the way that he said, you know, Streetlights at the end of the song. Like, just something about the way that he sang this in this particular performance was definitely a lot better for me as compared to the studio track. And it's most often how I feel about most of No.I's tracks in general, is that I love them on record, but they somehow make it a lot better during the actual performances. And again, as a fan, this might be, you know, a completely biased perception of it, but honestly, I think they just bring their A game or more than their A game when they're actually performing live, and that they look to enhance the studio versions a lot better when they're actually on stage doing it. And I think that's what happened with Streetlights as well. And I really wish that they put it on streaming someday because it is such a good track and a lot more people should be able to listen to it, not just in performances. So yeah, just want to put it out there. I completely forgot to include it in while I was filming that video, but yeah, going back to recorded version, Amanda. Move into Ice. Now, Ice, I think, is one of the most anticipated songs that is to be performed, because a lot of people had a lot to say about Ice ever since the tour started. And it's one of the songs as well that I feel like a lot of people really enjoyed. I absolutely love this. The first time that I heard it, it's definitely one of my favorites because again, it's very mature. The melody is super kind of like easy to listen to. Again, it has this sultry adult vibe that fits No.I's image now as compared to, you know, it's not a play safe type of song. And again, just the groove of it is just very easy to listen to. I think people had expectations that it's gonna like the live performance of it would be like something a little bit more, I don't know, treading towards a little bit more sexy or something like that. But they just went with something that has very cool choreography for this. Shout out to Kaz the Fire for providing the choreography for this song. But it worked so well because like sometimes if you over explore the lyrics of a song and then match it completely with like presenting it, it might feel like distasteful. But for this one, because, you know, the song itself very provocative, and then you have choreography that is super, super sleek and super smooth, and just absolutely love the choreography for this. Then it makes a lot of sense. And it's just super, super fun and exciting to watch. And it's just a short song. I think this song is just around 2 minutes tops or whatever. And I think just as a track, it leaves you wanting for more, and even the performance itself is like that. And it's because, again, the choreography is really, really nice and smooth. And I'm looking forward to the edited version of this, because the camera work for this specific part of the concert for Prime Video, there are angles where the choreography, like, the shot was in this side of the stage, and it barely showed like the choreography. Um, it's so weird. One thing that I found funny about this is there's this part where they lifted Jin up, and I don't know, that just felt like school performance-ish to me. But other than that, I really love and enjoy the choreography of Ice. Moving on to, and then that transition to Numbers. Now, before Numbers, they also had like a little VTR thing. And then it transitioned to Numbers. And again, I always love that song because it feels like 3 songs in one track. And again, that was intentional because the show who produced the song wanted it to be like introduction for each members, and the high levelness of the rap, the vocals, and the way that they presented that, it was very, very simple. It was them singing, and then their backdrop is like a VTR of them pre-recorded, like also kind of like adding to the atmosphere of the song. I just absolutely love the way that they did Numbers for this concert. And also, yeah, just absolutely so good. Like, it gave them each a moment, again, separate from their solos, but also like each of them a spotlight of introducing who they are again to their audience and showcasing it. And again, it's mostly like a live performance and showcase of their vocals as well, and it's not too choreo heavy or anything like that. It's purely just attitude and stage presence, and that's what Numbers is all about. And again, absolutely love it. And then we move to Bon. Now, Bon is the last song in the concert. And again, it's just a blast listening to that song. And again, I've always loved it because it's very conscious of Japanese elements, Japanese instrumentality, mixed with, again, hip hop and a lot of other Western influences as well. But the barest concept of it is is like Japanese artistry and what No.I is trying to put out into the world. And I've always loved that song. And the choreography of it, again, similar to their hits with Inazuma, with Goat, very, very catchy, chorus-wise, just beautiful. And I think overall, like, ending it and then finishing it with a VTR of, like, it's all serious, and then finishing it with a VTR of, like, the pans falling over their heads, similar to the music video, and then ending the concert at that, it showcases just how much of who they are as artists really is out there. Like, they can do serious concepts, but at the same time, this is also what they're trying to put out there. They also have like personalities outside of that, and they want all these different aspects for their fans, and also new people coming into their performances to understand. And then after that, then we're all done, and then there's the encore. Now, for the encore for this concert, they sing "Is It Me," which is another crowd favorite in my opinion. I really, really love it. I'm quite sad that it's no longer part of like the actual playlist, actual set list, I mean. But like, obviously, like, them singing at the encore, very, very, again, fan favorite, very chill, very poppy type of song, a good way to kind of like end everything. And then of course with iLY, and with iLY, I guess it is the part where people can take videos of during the concert. And it's something that, according to them, it's something that they want their fans to be able to take home with them, and they're feeling sad, they can listen to the song and watch the fan cams that they took, stuff like that. So I understand the intention. And then I remember, like, during the last day of the performance, they also performed Hirakegoma, which is the song that they kind of like just released out of the blue, produced by Kishi as well. Really, really awesome track, but that was heard outside of the Prime Video archive, but the actual last day of their concert tour. And after this, they released a teaser for their upcoming single, God.I, which was produced by Kishi. A lot of people have varying things to say about it. In my opinion, I do think that there's going to be a Godzilla reference in there simply because of a specific clip that I've seen in their like part of the VTR of the concert, probably a teaser as to what God.I is going to be about. I'm super excited for what the track is going to be because again, Kishi produced it. Been loving Kishi's production so far, and he seemed very serious and a lot more detailed talking about it before, but this is already outside of the concert in general. But I think overall what I can say about this is very visually stunning. There are parts of it that I wish they could have, I don't know, edited the lighting a little bit more, but overall I'm so proud of them because again, this is their first live tour ever since they formed No.I. They've done concerts before, but this is their first live tour where they went to different cities, performed multiple shows in these different cities, and were able to meet a lot of their fans as compared to the shows that they were doing earlier into the year. It was a good way to end the year that they've had so far, where they performed in overseas festivals and local festivals and different music shows and have done so many different kind of like just so many different things. And to wrap it up with this tour and being able to just do something that is fully like a complete set list, because before they've been repeating GOAT over and over again. They have multiple like MC moments simply because they lack the number of songs to be able to like do a massive performance. But for now, they have an entire like a full set list already. They have a songs that they can call their own, and their productions, their crew, their dance crew, everything. It's just more well-rounded now. And then again, it just feels so nice to be able to see them perform again in their element, in their concert. And it's just really kind of like a proud moment that they've done all these other things, and obviously like a tour within their first year, quite inevitable, but at the same time it's still nice because having a full tour kind of like already pushes that, hey, this is No.I, this is them. And you know, I don't know, like as a fan, it's just so fun for me. Like even if I wasn't able to like be in the actual arenas standing watching them, just being in that moment as well, witnessing it live, instead of waiting for like a Blu-ray to come out like a couple of months later, is just a fun experience as well. And I'm really glad that they're going this route right now, where they're also involving people outside of like who can just be there with them at the moment. It's just a fun experience overall to be able to like experience that along with other fans as well. But yeah, I think overall I just want to say like I really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the January 19 archive, and it's just a super like I'm looking forward as to what they have in store for this new single and for the year ahead. And yeah, I'm just really happy that I wanted to like sit down and make a video about it. But yeah, so anyway, so with that said, so thank you so much for sitting through this video if you lasted this long. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel and you would want to hear more from me, please hit subscribe. Let's talk it out down in the comments below or in my other social media channels. You know where to find me. That's it for today's video. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon in a new one. Bye!